Hello everyone, Namaste. Welcome to the Upskill School. We have amazing guests today with us, Sri Hari Vittal and Namrata ji. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Namaste.
much.
Namaste, Abhishek ji. Thank you for having us.
So briefly touch upon what Sri Hari and Namrata do. They run as a founder the Vedic Pond, a great initiative towards bringing the Indian knowledge system to the youth and to also going back to the Bhakti and the Vedanta principles of our ancient Bharat and how this can be brought to the light in the modern world. So, and also Sri Hari has been active member in Chinmaya Mission. In his past work as a volunteer, he has worked with a lot of youths in Chinmaya Mission. Currently, he's also pursuing his advanced education through IIT Madras. So I welcome both of you, and I would like to start with the first uh, question. Why IKS? Why did you choose Indian knowledge system, and how does that inspire both of you, to work on?
Okay. So, namaste and thank you so much, Abhishek ji. This is such a honor to be part of this dialogue series with you. Yeah, why IKS? This is a very pertinent question, comes our way very often. A long story short is, if not this, I don't know where else I would belong. So as many may not be aware, I'm also a chartered accountant. I worked with one of the big fours for about 4 to 5 years and didn't find a lot of meaning in what I was doing there. So, but I didn't know what else to do. So it's not as if I was doing a bad job at what I was doing. I was, in fact, amongst one of the high-ranking performers. But yet I felt a lot of void within and a deep sense of not being belonging to the culture, the corporate culture, as well as being completely away from what I was, in touch with at home and in my social circles, which was a far more rooted, far more simple, far more engaging and homely. So I was, by the grace of something beyond me, I was very lucky to find my yoga teacher at a very, I would say, young age these days. And one after the other, things went on. And yeah, today it's been about 5 years. I am into practicing and teaching yoga and also, accompanying Sri Hari at Vedic Pond, where we take all of this to the youth as well. So why IKS? I think it takes me closer to myself as well as finds meaningful ways to connect with other human beings and the world at large in a very purposeful and very loving way. Yeah.
Yeah. No, in fact, when you touched upon the youth piece, today in Bharat, we are the youngest country in the world, I would say. The youth population in our country is almost 25% is as what I know from the latest data. And as you both have founded the Vedic Pond, can you tell us more about the Vedic Pond and how does it sort of tie down to your larger purpose? Because today, to find the purpose and the meaning of life, for example, I am also a chartered accountant. I do my work for living, but when I look upon my spiritual journey with the art of living, and I started practicing and also teaching meditation after Buddha's blessing, how do you tie down in terms of our country, Bharat, in terms of how the youth population is there and your initiative, the Vedic Pond?
Sure. So the Vedic Pond, we started the journey during COVID, during the lockdown. And what really inspired me at that time was a particular text, a literature that helped me find grounding, access a space of quietude and stillness within me while there was chaos around me. So that is Srimad Bhagavatam. So the stories of Bhagavatam took me to another whole world. And the only feeling or inspiration that was gurgling inside me was to be able to relive the stories again and again. And I thought, what better way to do it than narrating it to kids? Because as you mentioned, through Chinmaya Mission, I discovered my Swadharma, which is love for teaching, love for storytelling, and to be with children. So tying it up through the Srimad Bhagavatam, we started some storytelling series, and parents really liked it. Kids caught on to it. They wanted more and more of us to come and offer our stories and be a part of a space. So we saw this beautiful community coming together during the COVID times, and we really felt like, wow, this is a good momentum. I think there is good energy here. We all have come together with a certain intention and an energy. We should see how we can keep it going. So that's where through some guidance from my mentors, my parents, some close friends, we put something together called the Vedic Pond. We believe that children are like lotuses, and no matter what the murkiness is under the water, no matter how muddy the soil is, the lotus is always beautiful while it blossoms above the water. And it is always there to, permeate its elegance and wonder and beauty to the world. So my idea of IKS and what Vedic Pond should be is that how can children be lotuses? To put it in simple words, no matter how difficult life could be, no matter what dirt it could throw to you, how can you still blossom, be full, and flower like a lotus? So that's basically what our idea for Vedic Pond is.
Yeah, no, I think this is very crucial in today's point of time, I would say, because as a parent, what I realized is that when you are in stress as a parent, sometimes you sort of pass on that stress to your children as well. And as you rightly
Sure.
said, children are they are like lotus leaf, where even if you put a drop, the drop doesn't stays
Yeah.
there, and it remains that remain that calm and cool. So how do you what kind of stories or the qualities you imbibe in the kids so that when they grow up, because we are now looking Bharat to be developed nation by 2047. So we need such kind of kids who become youth, who become adult, who become the leaders in coming days in 2047, who will lead the country to a new level. Especially our dharma, our principles, our yogic practices, our system, dharmic system. How those teaching help to protect?
Definitely. So we have basically identified that overall there are three problems that an individual goes through in today's world. One is at the individual level, at a self level, which basically are illnesses, mental health issues, physical sicknesses, so on and so forth. And then the second level of problems or issues one faces is social, which is in relation to another being. It could be a human or it could be another living being. And the third is basically the planetary issues at large. The whatever collective actions as humans we do, what kind of an effect it has on global, and what consequences do we have to face because of that. So looking at these three broad problems, we felt that we need to see how kids can be able to learn and be rooted through cultural practices and address all problems at all these three levels. So we have basically identified three areas of work again, which is worldview building, and then we have habit building, and also values. So all these three need to come together: worldview, values, and habits for a child or a young mind in order to be efficient and tap into their full potential and meander through all these issues out there, the three levels of issues that we discussed. So whatever courses, whether be it storytelling or yoga or Ayurveda that we offer through Vedic Pond, we see how we can integrate the worldview building, the value education, and the habit practices that we can share with the kids, so that it's also, as it's practical, it also imbibes a certain philosophy, a thought process, and a overall overarching worldview, basically. So, for example, what we do is in Ayurveda course, we have a particular shloka in Ayurveda which says Yatha Brahmande Tatha Pinde, which is basically to say, as the macrocosm, thus is the microcosm, right? There is a union, seamless union between the macro and the micro. Giving such a worldview for a child opens up their perspective. They start to think how they're connected with the stars, with the other planets, with beings outside of them. And then they also feel responsible to care for them and also not come in harm's way towards them. That's one observation we did. And in order to so the values comes along with it as they reflect on the the worldview. The values of compassion towards others, caring for others, love, consideration for other beings comes into place. And the habits such as maybe feeding another animal, sowing seeds. We introduce simple practices. We bring it into a model of daily practices, like a spiritual diary. We call it samskara diary. They have 5 tasks to do a day, which includes simple practices like offering water to a bird, or watering a plant, or helping someone, some stranger in the road. Yeah, basically. So and doing it with the child. It's not just something we tell the kids and then ask, expect them to do it, but how can we make it participatory and share each other's work and motivate each other on this journey. So this is something we do.
Yeah. Just a couple of things to add to what Hari mentioned. So I think an important part is also we're losing some of our practices. There is often a lot of existing knowledge even from scientific realms, of what is good. There is no dearth. There is enough and more literature, and I think many children also know what is good, but how to do that good and how to do it consistently is something that both parents and children very often struggle with. So through our dinacharya module, we have something called as the dinacharya, or the daily routine kind of program, where we instill some of these practices from Ayurveda, which are very, actually, if you converse with children, once they pick it up, they actually find it very easy to follow through, and they in turn become lamps to educate their parents and families around them. So we've observed some of that as well. And of course, as Hari mentioned, we are in a time where these problems do arise. But how can we anchor ourselves in something deeper, yet be meaningfully engaged with the world? So that has been our constant endeavor.
No, I think this is sort of going back to our glory. What I see, and of course this is not of a political statement, but what I see is that in those 250 years when we were under the colonial rule, I would say our own Vedantic teachings, our own Vedantic principles, the substance to our own glory by our ancient masters, whether it is knowledge system, whether it is Ayurveda, whether it is astrology, all those have somehow could not come to the part of the mainstream education, and we've been told to get educated, get a degree, do a job, and just live your life. Whereas what I feel myself, being a strong proponent of Indian knowledge system, as a researcher also, I am doing research on well-being aspects and how the the job performance, economic well-being, subjective well-being of an individual or a working professional can be enhanced by using certain yogic practices such as Sudarshan Kriya Yoga. So how meditation helps you to gain all kind of well-being in a right way. So when you spoke about education, I think we have lost the glory of holistic well-being, holistic education, which I think which your initiative is going to bring back, give our student that understanding. At the same time, the meaning of happiness, which was always associated to getting more, accumulate more, or accumulating more is not bad, but somehow associating that with education was actually creating trouble for the generation, isn't it? What do you say?
Absolutely. So the whole acceptance of whatever is Western is right in itself should be challenged, according to me. And our present day, our education is also teaching us to conform to certain practices and ideas and concepts that have been done by a certain, set of people and thinkers in the West without any question. Whereas, and so-called the modern education or the secular education is designed to overthrow the indigenous knowledge systems, basically. So that is really unfortunate, because it's really sad. We tell, secular education means it should rather be we accept, we have a healthy environment where we can, discuss and debate and understand each other's ideas in a very good space and a happy, healthy environment, a nurturing environment. Rather, right now the whole thing is to refute and reject it completely without even giving it a equal chance of debate and discussion, right? So that is something really that needs to be challenged, and we constantly bring it up whenever we go to schools. We of course we can't do it outrightly, overtly, but how can we bring that conversation subtly? How can we bring the importance of cultural impression in young minds at the young age? And why is it important? Again, a lot of times culture is then misunderstood or taken straight towards supernatural or spiritual, which it is, but it is also very, very important and relevant in common social life. Because a great thinker called Mr. Gundappa, D.V. Gundappa, he says that culture is the elegance and fragrance of social harmony. So I'm just paraphrasing him, but this, and also another thinker says culture is collective meaning. How do we make meaning as a species together? So how do we, through culture, then culture is performatory. We have so many tools and so many avenues to not just learn or think or acquire knowledge about culture, but to actually perform it through theater, through storytelling, through music, through dance. How do we need to tap into that for children to actually be one with that knowledge, experience it, and then make it one with themselves so that it becomes subjective? So that's how we try to push it in all conversations, to go into the performatory aspect of culture, and so that it becomes experiential. That is the most important aspect.
Just regarding the acquisitive nature that you had just mentioned before this, as the definition of happiness is acquiring more and all of that. Actually, a mind that is operating in that realm very shortly will feel just the opposite. And we've noticed that children actually love and enjoy giving. So we very often give them tasks like, go and contribute to a gaushala, go and adopt a gaushala, visit it every maybe week, anytime. I mean, do it regularly. They really enjoy that activity. They, with respect to giving clothes, giving anything, even something as simple as before food, offering prayers and offering gratitude to why and all the people who have given you food. It has left such a profound impact. Just last week, we completed a summer camp in Salem, and a 4-year-old girl, you will not believe it, a 4-year-old girl, it has left an impact on her. And she has made it, compulsory for her parents to offer prayers before food. I mean, I don't think we need to do anything beyond this, because I think gratitude and something as deep as this cannot be instilled by education or literacy. It is something which is already there within us. We just need to find ways to tap into it. That's all we also honestly believe that we're doing. And of course, there's also this other element regarding modern education and the, ancient heritage that these two have gone a little quite apart, and both seem to be operating some very often they are not able to come together. So at Vedic Pond, it is our humble, effort to try and bridge this gap, because to be able to even be eligible to have the our ancient education, our Vedic education, there is a lot of work that one needs to do with themselves. There needs to be a good acharam, there needs to be good vyavaharam. Your whole way of being has to change, and because of multiple reasons that's not possible. So through Vedic Pond, we still want to offer some of that essence to modern, urban children who are missing out, and hopefully, inspire them enough to go on the Vedic path at some point.
Yeah, I know. In fact, so nicely explained, because in our ancient Vedic tradition, we used to develop the consciousness of an individual. And if the
Yeah.
consciousness of the individual is developed, of course, he acquires the knowledge. At the same time, he is able to perform his duty towards the self, duty towards the society, and duty towards the world. And that is the actual global citizenship which that individual carries. And the kind of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam concept we drive is that the whole world is my, one family. I need to protect everything. Unlike the Western concepts, where individualistic efforts and approach is followed, which later on turns out to be creating conflicts within the society, and then of course, so much disturbance we already see in many instances and events. Moving into the next piece, do you know about the Indian knowledge system, which is also part of the new education policy by the recent government? Have you explored about
Absolutely.
it? How do you see? And tell us about the possible gain, which our education system can leverage from it.
Definitely. So, if I noticed in the document in the NEP, whenever they mention IKS, most of the places, as they gave the policy recommendations, one thing that stood out to me is to instill pride in India. That was a very big thing that emerged from the document. So, first is to instill that pride so that more people, more kids, more young minds start getting curious, so that it kindles their curiosity, and then they start looking towards the world, that the whole vast ocean that has been ignored for so long, and they start exploring the waters of it, basically. So what we really try to do is to connect the nation aspect, how it has come from thinkers from this land, and also certain geographical connections related to the particular course we are doing, and also how as a nation we have thrived, though there have been so many diversifications and a lot of evolutions that have happened in this land, yet we have survived as one family, as you said, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So we bring those discussion points now and then, but we also go deep into the regional, native, unique aspects of various cultural practices, so that it becomes a rich experience of heritage and of culture. So NEP talks about that, to bring experiential learning, to bring the, as I said, the pride in India, to bring storytelling. It's a big. We were very happy. It was great discovery for us to see storytelling mentioned in the document as a tool to teach, basically, and include stories from Indian epics, Indian history, basically. So we have programs such as Shubhratri, which is bedtime storytelling series, where we narrate stories from Itihasas, Puranas, Indian history to kids online. So after the story, we engage in dialogues and discussions based on the story, and we go deeper into how that value, what does it mean to us, and whether we are practicing it, whether we are not. It's an individual reflection post the storytelling. So storytelling also was a big discovery. Anything yoga as well. Yeah.
There's a lot of importance that's also being given to yoga, especially in the aftermath of the the virus and the complete impact it has had on children. they are not able to connect back with each other also, as much as they're not able to connect back with themselves. So yoga has been given a lot of importance in NEP. But there's only one unfortunate part. All the other portions of NEP, including the infrastructural requirements, all of those things are being followed in many schools. However, the requirements with respect to IKS, so some of the big schools are definitely following it, but not many are still in the know of this at the school level. So yes, in terms of advocacy, a lot more work needs to be done, and we are actively working on those fronts as well, to spread it to more schools, training the teachers, training staff. It's a long journey, but yes, it's a very valuable and very, very important and vital at where we are as a nation.
No, I think I must personally appreciate because we have less people currently who are actually going out and willing to share this knowledge to the
Absolutely.
current education system and
Yes.
tell them, even the universities, and I've visited few of the conferences where I've met the professors, the deans, and few of the students as well, who came to present their paper from the IKS perspective. Slowly and slowly, what I realized is that in many universities in many parts of the country, they are also now are promoting that culture where people contribute their knowledge of or their research papers in IKS. What gives them perspective is to sort of go back, deep dive, understand. So I presented one paper in Ahmedabad in
Okay.
JG College of Excellence, where the title was, From Upanishad to AI. How does IKS and how the sort of it contributes? So I think more and more avenues are getting created, and my sense is that taking pride in India. Previously, it was seen as not in the right light, but in the current context, unless you respect your own culture, unless you respect your own tradition, your traditional values, your own system, who would value them? Unless we value, who will value that? And if you don't value it, you don't preserve it, you don't promote it, you don't take care of it, it will slowly erode. Bharat is the oldest civilization in the world. It goes back to 10,000-year-old when Rama and the Ramayana was there. Then we have 5,000 year back when the entire Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge system by Krishna to Arjuna happened in the Kurukshetra. We live that system currently, even 2,500 when the Maharshi Patanjali gave the entire Yoga Sutras on not just doing physical asanas, but maximum slokas talks about the mind, the modalities of the mind, how to handle the mind. So I think the way we have treated ourselves in the last 250 years, of course, is the time to take pride, is the time to rise up. And I must appreciate both Sri Hari and Namrata, who are actually devoting the entire time and the effort to create that value, to create that awareness, and create those young ones who are dynamic, yet very nimble, yet very compassionate, not just hard-coded morons who do not have any love and compassion towards the mother and the motherland and the ecosystem and the earth, and they just go on like a machine and they break down. So we need to have very flexible, agile youth. I think we have still 5 minutes to go on the conversation. What I'll do is that I would like to pull this book on leadership. And because both of you are leader, and this is a leadership conversation, we call founders and leaders who are creating impact, and you are creating a larger and a bigger impact close to my heart to the subject. So from page number 1 to 7, from 1 to 75, what's your what you call your favorite number? I'll pull that number and see what is the leadership quote we have from the master.
Sure. I would go for 27.
27. Wow. Let me just pull that. Okay. So, and what I've seen is that whenever I pull these quotes, those quotes are apt on that conversation. So let's see what it comes. So 27 says, whether you gain or lose, behind every loss there is a gain, and behind every gain there is some loss. Don't worry about winning or losing, just do your duty. Let me again repeat, whether you gain or lose, behind every loss there is a gain, and behind every gain there is some loss. Don't worry about winning or losing, just do your duty. So your thoughts, what do you say, and how it sort of go back to what you do?
Absolutely. For me personally, I see a lot of things as a game. I have picked this up just 4 or 5 years back. Before that, I used to be this high-tempered individual, but then some things happened. I was a professional sportsman. I went through a certain set of experiences, some physical setbacks, and that whole time where I was able to sit and think, you know, uh, it was a big loss because I couldn't continue in my journey of playing that sport. But looking back today, I wouldn't have been here if not for that experience as well. So that big accident that had happened long back at that time seemed like a whole life-shattering experience. But now I'm grateful for having built a new me and transformed me into who I am today. So yeah, definitely. I think like there are so many dots, it doesn't connect right away, but at some point in time, it all connects in hindsight. So really, really profound. Thank you so much for this.
Namrata ji, you want to add your point of view?
It is directly, yes, it directly, touched and resonated with me. This is about the time when I quit my job at EY. It seemed like I was, losing out on a lot, in terms of, let's say, just not just financially, but, the way in which I am part of society itself. It seemed like there was a huge loss at that time. But more and more, I cannot be enough grateful for that decision that I made. I wouldn't be here with my partner here, and definitely not with those beautiful children and all of my other students who I'm able to touch through this new journey that I've taken on. That is something which is invaluable to me. And yes, definitely, even this choice has its own set of choice. It's a choice at the end of the day, so any choice will have its repercussions. It also resonated with the Yoga Sutra, as you mentioned. I'm also a student of yoga, so karma shukla akna yoginaha urvatam hitarisham. So we need to do what we need to do, and just stay with the self, the present moment. It takes me back to the breath and the practice. So yeah, I think that's all.
Yeah. So I think I really enjoyed the conversation. I'm very grateful that I could meet with people who are doing great for Bharat. We have still little time. I have one last question and then we'll wrap this up.
Sure.
When you seen this journey about yourself, right? Very quickly, in few words, if you can give a message to our youth, especially on upskilling, and how our Vedantic principles, help them. Few specific tips.
I was going to share this myself. Thank you for asking me. So one of our teachers, Shri Raghu Anandanarayanan, he was a disciple of Dharampalji. And so Dharampalji just told him very clearly, it seems, that, and several others at that time, that that Bharat is great. There's no lack of conviction in that for you. But don't keep just talking about it. If you really think Bharat is great, devote your life at least 8 to 10 years in studying one particular tradition with a great master. 8 to 10 years you must study and apply it to solve present problems. Let it not just remain at the level of narrative, let it actually permeate. Let the beauty and essence of Bharat actually permeate and become part of every cell of all, living and non-living beings. Let it be in applications. So become entrepreneurial, become, upskill your research skills. See how this wisdom can actually touch everyone in meaningful ways today. Let it not just be some historic thing to be kept in the museum, because that's what most other civilizations have become. We are the only living tradition because of our practices. So that is one thing that I would really, urge our youth to take up. Any one tradition and really go to the depths of it and apply it to today's problems. That's the only way our culture continues. Anything
I
you
think
would like to
I think
I really resonate with you. We're out of time, but I would I'll quickly sum up that, as a kid, as a youth, this is a great opportunity. Indian knowledge system has a lot to offer to the world. Let's look upon and see how best we can take few of the aspects and take it and apply in the practical aspect. Thank you so much, Srihari and
so much.
Namrata ji. It was a nice conversation. I'm grateful for you having here. Take care.
thank you
Very
so
great.
much. Namaste,
Namaste.
Abhishek ji.